Ready? Hey y'all, Coach and Fi here, giving a demonstration on how to repair the clocks. Now, some of the earliest clocks that we've sent out have been arrived broken. Apparently the Postal Service is not handling these with care. So let's see how to repair it. Now this is a white clock here. Nobody has ordered it yet, so I'm going to use it as an example. First thing I'm going to do is open it up to show you that it's not broken. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it because I have an idea of how they're getting broken. And then I'm going to show you how to replace them. All right, so first let's open it up. Okay. So when your clock should arrive, it should look like this, with the instructions there at the top. And then when you pull it out, everything should be attached, and it should have the correct time here. And that's the way it should arrive. So everything is attached. Let me put it back together, and then I'm going to drop it and see what happens. Now hopefully I don't break the glass in here. I'm not sure how much they're handling these clocks, how bad, but you know, we've all seen on television where they're kicking them and dropping them. The way that movement here is attached to the clock is by these two tabs right here. That's what's holding this on. And I believe what's happening is the drop is actually separating and pulling this part off. So let's see if I can duplicate it. Let's do it one more time. Sound like something's wick. Yep, that did it. You can hear it shaking. All right, so now let's open it back up. And so that's what some of you guys are getting. And the first thing you'll notice is that your hands are loose. And you'll notice that your movement is displaced. First thing you want to do to ensure that you're going to be able to put it back together is that this is still in one unit. If it's still intact like this, and if your glass is still intact, and nothing else is missing or broken, you're going to be able to put it back together pretty easily. The first thing we're going to have to do, though, is we're going to have to remove these little screws. So we're going to have a little bitty screwdriver. Let me go ahead and take those out. You notice that from that little bit of drop, the box itself doesn't appear to be damaged at all. So you won't be able to tell when a postman shows up if it's been damaged. But what you will notice is that you have that shaking inside the clock. Okay, so you have to take the clock apart.
this on one side and the opposite side that you pull it out from.
Alright, so you have to take the clock apart. Of course, you want to keep up with your little screws. Alright, so now it's going to be pretty simple. This is facing up here for the clock, and the movement, the battery is facing down. That's where you have these two little tabs that you'll put back in here, and you'll slide it back in. And you see it is made to stay on the wall, not to be treated like a football, so it's going to be alright unless, of course, you drop it again. Then you put the hands back on. Now, it's good in a way that this has happened because you now will have to learn how to set the clock. What you want to do first is put the hour hand on. This hand is the star hand. It has to go on first, and it's going to represent the day. Today is March the 19th. If you see here, the clock says March the 20th there. So we're going to set it almost to March the 20th. And it don't have to be precise at this moment. We're gonna have to test it first. Then you have the moon hand, which we know as the minute hand, and we set it to the day of the month. We're on the day after the Sabbath day. We're on the 16th, so I'm gonna put it about right there on the 16th. Real simple. Make sure it's all attached. Then you have the hour hand. Looks like it's about 12:15 here. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on here. There's my 12. There's my 15. And I'm going to put it here. So you see we've only entered this for a few moments, but now comes the long part as we're going to have to test it. A lot of times I'll simply put it on the 12 just so I can be sure, pointing it as close as I can to that screw. And then I'm going to just wait and make sure that everything is ticking properly. So we just give it some time and then we'll come back. All right, so a little bit of TV magic there. What you're seeing is that we've waited about 30 minutes and we've seen that the clock has moved about 30 minutes. So what that ensures us is that the clock is now functioning properly. If for some reason it does not keep time, the first thing you want to do is you want to start with the movement knob on the back, and you want to ensure that it will move when you turn. Simply by doing that ensures that you have a proper connection here in the movement still. Now this one, like I said, it did move according to time. It is keeping time, so we can make sure we do have it set correctly. So now that we know that it's back together, everything is tight, everything is ready to put back together. So all we have to do now is set the clock correctly. So again, today is the 16th. So we move our hand to the 16th, a little bit past, since we are about noon. The time now is about 12:20. So we put that there. And then as far as the date goes, we have to make sure this hand is stabilized as we move this one to the approximate date. We'll move it to it's almost to the 20.
No, I don't know that these are covered in the instructions.
All of this is covered in the instructions because this part is actually covered in the instructions in case you have to set it again. The primary purpose of this video is when this back part is dislodged when you receive it. So now that we have it set correctly, we're sure that it is keeping time like it's supposed to. So now we just put it back together. Set your glass down between the risers first, making sure that it is centered. It doesn't wiggle on me. I am using gloves to make sure that I don't get any fingerprints on the inside. Then we just have to line the screws up with the screw holes and screw them back into place. Don't make them too tight or you might strip something. Now you set your clock back up and then you test it again. You can put it on the wall at this point to ensure that it's keeping time. And if it is, there you go. Your clock is back together. And from now on, we'll make sure it don't get dropped again. If you have any questions, you can send me an email to endthefight@yahoo.com. And with that, I'm going to say shalom and Godspeed.